Welcome to Ink 2 Video. We make books into visual stories.
Meet Varda. He learns quickly, he picks up new concepts in a flash, and he almost always starts strong. But he has a chronic problem. He is a starter, not a finisher. His apartment is a graveyard of one-month obsessions. There's an abandoned YouTube channel with exactly 2 uploads, a complex diet plan taped to the fridge that lasted a single week, and a brand new guitar collecting dust in the corner. What frustrates him most is watching his peers. He sees people who take twice as long to grasp a concept getting promoted, getting fit, and actually completing the long-term projects they talk about. Varda operates on a quiet assumption. If you aren't naturally great at something right out of the gate, it means you simply don't have the aptitude for it. And the logical move is to find a new hobby where you do. He relies entirely on that initial surge of rapid learning. When his early, effortless progress eventually stops, he treats his boredom as a signal to quit, rather than acknowledging it as the normal friction of hitting a skill plateau. In her extensive research, psychologist Angela Duckworth identified a specific combination of passion and perseverance that predicts long-term success far better than raw intelligence or innate ability. She calls it grit. A key hurdle to developing it is our own vanity. We love the myth of the natural genius. If we frame high achievement as something magical and biologically hardwired, we protect ourselves from the uncomfortable reality of comparison. By looking at his successful coworkers and labeling them as gifted, Varda gives himself a free pass. He removes the obligation to match their daily grinding effort. Dropping a project when it gets hard is an active psychological defense mechanism. It protects the ego from the possibility of trying your absolute hardest and still failing. To test this theory in the real world, Duckworth evaluated cadets at the United States Military Academy at West Point. The Army uses a highly sophisticated metric called the whole candidate score to evaluate applicants, heavily weighting academic intelligence and physical capability. Yet this score consistently failed to predict which cadets would actually survive the grueling 7-week initiation program known as Beast Barracks. She then shifted her focus to a purely cognitive battlefield, the Scripps National Spelling Bee, tracking competitors who spend thousands of hours memorizing root words. Across both the physical extremes of military training and the intense mental pressure of a spelling stage, the deciding factor was identical. The students who scored highest on the grit scale outlasted their naturally smarter or stronger peers in every cohort. High baseline talent gives you a head start when the race begins, but it offers exactly 0 momentum when your muscles give out or the words become indecipherable. This simple equation shows exactly how perseverance outpaces aptitude. Your baseline talent, multiplied by effort, equals your skill level. But building a skill is only halfway. Next, you multiply that skill by effort a second time to equal achievement. Effort counts twice in the math of success. You can possess massive reserves of raw talent, but without that dual application of sustained work, it sits entirely dormant. To see this in action, we return to Varda's dusty guitar. He decides to implement a daily hard thing rule. He picks the instrument back up and immediately hits the exact painful plateau where his fingers blister and he sounds terrible. Instead of reverting to the few simple riffs he already knows to feel good about himself, he uses deliberate practice. He sets a timer for exactly 20 minutes and forces himself to clumsily fumble through the 3 specific chords he keeps failing to transition between. That acute frustration is the precise boundary line of his natural aptitude. To progress any further, he has to rely entirely on that second multiplier of effort. Running purely on willpower is exhausting. To maintain this daily friction, Varda needs purpose. He connects the agonizing guitar practice to a concrete objective, playing a full song for his grandmother on her birthday. He also adopts a growth mindset to cultivate hope. When a chord sounds awful, he stops telling himself he lacks musicality and instead recognizes that the physical discomfort in his hands is the mechanical process of his brain forming new neural pathways. This diagram shows the goal hierarchy of a highly gritty person. The base is filled with chaotic, daily tasks, but every single one of them points upward toward one singular, defining objective at the peak. Varda defines his top-level goal as becoming a world-class problem solver in technology. With that peak established, he ruthlessly prunes away any lower-level habits, like hours of mindless scrolling or excessive gaming, that do not strictly support that aim. Passion is rarely a fully formed fire you stumble upon by accident. It is a carefully tended garden, cultivated daily by aligning your smallest habits with a singular, meaningful target. 6 months later, the blistered fingers have calluses. Varda sits down at his grandmother's birthday party and flawlessly plays a complete song. He possesses a quiet, steady confidence that he never felt during his brief flirts with a dozen other hobbies. Longitudinal data confirms that grit naturally increases as we age. It is a highly mutable trait, built slowly through lived experience and the conscious daily choice to prioritize difficult effort over comfortable ease. By internalizing the mechanics of finishing a project, the results compound. Varda completes his coding course, lands a demanding job in tech, and sticks to his fitness routine. Achievement is a marathon played out over years, not days. Reaching the top tier of your field is rarely a matter of possessing the highest IQ in the room. It belongs to those who systematically refuse to stop trying. Think about one specific goal you abandoned over the last 12 months. If you had stopped treating early friction as a lack of talent and instead applied deliberate, purposeful practice to the hardest parts, would you still be doing it today?
Don't just watch the story. Be part of it. Ink it. Imagine it. Live it with Ink2 Video. Like if it hit you. Subscribe to stay in the story loop. Share it with someone who loves visuals.